Being in a band turns you into a child and keeps you there.
When did you say that?
No idea. I think as a band, it's sort of like a club and you stick together. But there is a point where you actually do have to grow up. From doing the bends and finishing OK Computer, we did quite a lot of growing up. And that's not to say we don't live in limbo, which we do.
But I think the band that did the first album, first Radiohead album, does feel like, 7-year-olds really, compared to what we're doing now, I think.
They're a bunch of idiots. The growing up bit is realising what you're doing. With Creep and so on, we didn't know what was going on. We didn't have a clue what was happening. And so everything was just wrong. When you're on tour, it's sort of, you do a lot of things are taken care of. But there are actually reasons for that. It affects me if, say, I have to have meetings with people or, that sort of thing. I know that by the end of the day, my head is so full up with noise that, so you exist in a necessary vacuum. Personally, that's the way I see it. And if you can't concentrate when you're on stage, if you can't focus what you're doing, then it's a waste of time.
When you're here before, can look you in the eye. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather. Beautiful. Special, you're so special, but I'm a what the hell am I to you? I don't belong. I don't care for us. I wanna have control. I want a perfect body. I want a perfect soul.
Panic that our music was crap. Oh no, we're crap. Yeah, we still have that, I think, sometimes. But
All the time, actually.
Wouldn't it be terrible if we never worried about the music being bad? Just assumed that every album was always going to be faultless. I think it's a good belief to have.
I think by the end of OK Computer, we just decided everything was, well, not crap, but like, we could just see so many holes in it that we had to stop. We just became so obsessed by the whole idea. And I think that was a reaction really to like, the first record being done in 3 weeks when we didn't know what we were doing, and yet having to live with it for 2.5, 3 years. Live with the consequences of that, which we just thought was so absurd. Just because we never expected anybody to buy it at all. We did it to learn. It was just so odd. So I think we have a sort of manic, a pathological, almost to the point of extreme unhealthiness, really, of thinking everything we do is shit all the time.
Do we enjoy playing live? It used to be the only thing we enjoyed, in a way. Recording used to be a chore until about halfway through the bends. Now they're both as exciting as each other, really. It's something that you miss when you're touring. When touring is something you miss when you've been in the studio for 4 weeks.
Or a year and a half.
Or a year and a half. So it's constant anticipation, really. Kind of live a life of constantly, can't wait to get home, and when you're home you can't wait to go off on tour, and it's quite, again, quite a buzz.
It can be very tiring. Touring can be exhausting, and you can lose interest in terms of, you know, you sometimes do feel like a jukebox. You know, you're playing, we change the sets a lot, but we have to play songs off OK Computer, we have to play songs off The Bend, some songs off Papa Honey. There are only so many, you know, different permutations you can make.
For us, it's like when it's best when we're playing is when we're sort of in a sort of dream state anyway. If it's a good show and you feel that you've played well and you feel that when you left the stage there's something in the air that wasn't there when you started, then you've really done something and have to make the most of it, you know, for as long as you can. So when people sort of like, so I don't go and say hello to anybody. Most of the time I'll just go sit on the bus now because I can't do anything else.
Driving me away. You do it every day. You don't mean it, but it hurts like hell. My brain says I'm receiving pain.
The Oasis in the Verve at Earl's Court about a month ago, and it's Oasis transmit a very different kind of energy. It's much more like a group, like a mob thing, you know, like you know, there's not that kind of like each person in the audience feel they're being singled out with some of the songs. It's more of a sort of big communal, you know, booze up sing along thing, you know. But you know, I think the fact that we've been able to be quite successful in a lot of these large shows at not doing that, but rather having sort of an empathy between the audience and the performance, to do with like Tom trying very hard to do that, to feel that he's communicating with individually and severally with the audience.
It's one of our strengths and also one of our great weaknesses. Emotional honesty. You know, when you do a gig, you can tell when Radiohead aren't doing a great gig or when we are doing a good gig, because it's, you know, we're not gonna bullshit. We're not gonna bullshit the audience.
A lot of the time it's the title, and the title will give everyone a sort of vague idea of what we're trying to aim at, and but not, you know, not all the time by any means. Sometimes it's just a sound that someone makes, like with Lucky, the sound of the guitar at the beginning to us was sort of like sleigh bells. There's always a point where things spark off, but it's not necessarily a title. But there is, I think, that's the kind of most rewarding point for us as sort of 5 people, the most rewarding point in doing anything that we do. I remember when we did Street Spirit, we had so much trouble with that. We rehearsed it for months couldn't get anywhere with it at all, and it just, we thought, well, we better try it in the studio, and we, no, and going round and round and round and round, and it wasn't really working, and then, I don't know, we just carried on for some reason, for no good reason, and then just stood back at the end of the second day of doing it, and it was all there. And like we hadn't, we hadn't even been involved, it just done itself. And it's so odd. So it's always what we're aiming at, whether that comes from a title or whether it comes from most of the time you're just not looking. It's whenever you're not looking, it turns up. And so you're in a constant state of panic that it'll never turn up again.
The most exciting time for me is when we've got what we suspect to be an amazing song, but nobody knows what they're going to play on it, and that's the best feeling. Tom sits down and plays your exit music just with an acoustic guitar and says, right, well, we're going to put this on the album. I mean, it's kind of daunting and exciting in equal parts, I think. It's quite a delicate thing knowing what to put on top to make it better or not to make it worse. And it's a kick, It's the part where there isn't anything, and then suddenly 2 days later there is.
Yeah.
Something concrete and physical, and that's a big rush, really big rush.
And you can last on that for months. You can last on that for months and months and months and months. All sorts of shit can happen, but if you had that, you can last for months. Keep you going forever. Great.
Jumps in a way, but you think that's pretty clever, don't you, boy? Flying on your motorcycle, watching on the ground beneath you drop. Kill yourself for recognition, kill yourself to never ever stop. Turning into something you and conversation, you will be the one who cannot talk. All your insides fall to pieces, you just sit there wishing you could still make love. But they're the ones who hate you when you think you got the word, oh sister.
there are songs that we've done that we've released as singles that we absolutely hate now.
Really?
Pop is Dead. And we released that on a whim, and it was not a very good song, but we just released it. And that, you should be allowed to make mistakes. What we always try and do is challenge people's preconceptions of the band. So I think it would be really cool to come out one day and just to maybe just release a single or whatever that's pure pop, and people go, I can't believe it. Is this Radiohead? We did on Most Wanted, Carly Simon's Nobody Does It Better. I think all for differing reasons. Not only is the song great, it's a classic. Tom wanted to sing it because it's the sexiest song he believes that's ever been written. And I think that we wanted to do it as well because it's kind of, it's the antithesis. We're seen as a certain way, and it kind of seemed it's, again, something quite different for us to do something like that. And it was a James Bond theme, I mean.
I wasn't looking, but somehow you found me. I try to hide from your love, like heaven above me. The spiral of me is keeping all my secrets safe tonight, and nobody does it better. Sometimes I wish someone would. Nobody does it quite the way you do. Why'd you have to be so good? The way that you hold me, hold me, I guess I'm magic inside. It just keeps me running, so just keep it coming. And you learn to do the things you do. Nobody does it better. Makes me feel sad for the rest. Nobody does it quite the way you do. Baby, baby, you're the
Do you want to be famous?
Depends what you mean by famous. If you sort of mean Hollywood famous. No, not really. Famous for doing good bits of stuff, then yeah, that would be cool. Famous for going to film openings, no. Famous for being quite good at something, yes, maybe. Famous for being a loudmouth, no. It's quite useful sometimes, as they say. But it's not a guiding force, really. It's not something that's basically terrifying, I think, for me.
Keith Moon or Descartes, where do you stand?
Tom York, life philosophy. The most essential thing in life is to establish heartfelt communication with others. There's bugger all else to do.